Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kobi Karp. I'm the architect for the project, and if you please give me a moment, I'd like to walk you through the project and show you how it is that we got to where it is that we are today on this very unique and exciting project. Let me see if this is the... I need my technical supervisor. I don't know what you guys are all laughing at. Thanks, man. Thanks. Thanks, Matt. So, just to, can everybody hear me okay? All right, good. So, when we came to this project, this is an aerial photograph that basically shows to you right here, Indian Creek Island and the main boulevard. This building was built in 1929, finished 1930 by Russell Pancoast. And if I'm speaking too fast, just slow me down a little bit, because... Oh, you're the man. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Because what happened here is that this project was built originally by Russell Pancoast, the architect, and additions were added on. This building was built before the town of Surfside was created. So we looked at it and we said, you know, it's quite interesting, and let's see what we can find out about it. So we looked at the historical, we found a bunch of historical photos. Yeah, that's me right here. That's a comedian born every day. That's right. But we found these photos, and the more research we did, we saw that there are vases and there is light fixtures and even these nicely dressed folks can be really relevant to what it is that the vision that we want to create here on this unique site. And as we went through the project and we saw what originally was built, not what was added on in the 50s and 60s and 70s, there's a lot of paint, there's a lot of false ceilings, a lot of things that hid the original gem. It created an opportunity for us to come back and see what originally was created and what the original vision was. This is, for example, the ballroom, which has beautiful floors. And for a long time, this historic element some of it was covered up. We are looking, as Nadim was mentioned, he's passionate about historic preservation and restoration, and what we are proposing to do is do a full historic preservation and restoration to the original building as it was built originally in 1929, completed in 1930. We're looking to restore the hardware, the fixtures, even the furniture, the light fixtures, everything. We're looking to bring it back to the way it was and use that as an asset for our project going forward. For example, we found these beautiful murals that we saw in the pictures that were in the drawings by Russell Pancoast. When we went to the site itself and we said, you know, to the maintenance guys, showed them the pictures and said, let us try to remove some of the 2x4 lane ceilings that were put in about 20 years ago, and lo and behold, they found those things there, the murals. And of course, there are cabanas, which are on the ocean, and some very well-known people have come to this location for many of years. So this building structure is unique because it was created at a time and a place that obviously no longer exists, but its architecture is very unique. Not only to the town of Surfside, yes, it's very unique to the town of Surfside, but you can go down to Miami Beach, you can go to Broward County, and even Palm Beach. You don't have grand buildings like these that were built in 1929, and if you peel back the onion and find the real jewel behind it, you can really do a full restoration to it. And as we went on, we looked at pictures and details that we found. And when we started to meet, not only with your city staff, which, by the way, has been more than helpful to us, because there are things in the existing building that we are proposing to do to bring it up to code, to meet life safety, electrical, flood, wind, and so forth. So we're looking to take the original building and restore it and make it part of our project, but more so make it really the heart and soul of our project. Because it fits exactly with the program that we are looking to do. We are looking to do a hotel. There are things in here which I'll show you, and I'll go a little bit faster, but there are murals in here, in these photos, that we found to be laying in the basement, and we can restore those. And so that's what got us all excited about this beautiful structure and the way it used to be. the floor plans, the open spaces, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker so that I don't put anybody to sleep. But it gave us the ability to transform the vision into where it is that we want it to be. And we found a whole collection and a whole slew of photographs of it to where it was just phenomenal. This is kind of an interesting aerial. This right here, the blue are all the additions. And that's what the historic preservationist said to us. Why don't you look into removing these additions? Because the historic preservation stopped the property from here going southward, and then here going northward, it is not preserved in the HP. The HP, the historic preservation folks, said to us, why don't you do a full restoration and preservation? And what we are also want you to do, because when you drive, I don't know if many of you have driven along Collins, when you drive north along Collins, there's a wall. And you don't really see the building because this blue hides the building and this porte cochere was added on. And even if you walk along the ocean, the historic building is substantially hidden behind additions and modifications which were created in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and so forth. So, as we went on, we found some original drawings. We actually found a whole set of microfilm of the original drawings, which Russell Pencoast did. And he did a pretty detailed set of drawings, which has the roof plan, has the peacock alley, the porte cochere as it was originally designed, in great detail. The cabanas, the structure itself, and actually the sections to the whole building, the tower, the point of arrival. And as we started to develop, remember that mural that I showed you in the photo that was hidden? That's what you'll see we exposed, and it's there, and it's beautiful. Woodwork, which was then painted on over. Fireplaces, which details were removed. So we have all of that information. We have the door and window hardware schedule of the original. So it's great, phenomenal to find things and pieces like that and start to bring them back to the way they used to be. Because you can't replicate that. And if that is part of our hotel where the public will be able to come in and enjoy and eat and dine and walk around and appreciate, that is really going to set us apart than anybody else. There's nobody that we're aware of in Dade or Broward County that has anything of this sort. And so we walked through the site, and here are some of the details. You can just see they're just phenomenal. You have molding of doors and windows, and that's what we also presented to the Historic Preservation Board to show them the doors that we will be doing and the windows. We brought them all the samples, hurricane impact, and so forth. So it was quite phenomenal to go through that exercise, and that's why we got their unanimous approval to really move forward on this proposed restoration and preservation of the project. I mean, it just goes on, and I don't want to bore you, and because the time is limited, and I don't want Sarah and Roger to get mad at me. But anyway, you see here, this is the original building, and these are the cabanas, and the blue obviously is what it is that we're proposing to remove. This is as it basically exists today. Obviously, a little bit more construction has occurred. People have moved in, and this is the island, Indian Creek Island right here, with the golf course facility. So when we looked into it, we said there is really an opportunity here if we're able to not only restore the original building and demolish what was added on, what if we do an urban plan that allows us not only bring the Indian Creek 91st, maybe there's something we can do along Collins A1A because it's really not pleasant with the wall that hides the property. It's not really pleasant when you walk along the beach here. Maybe we can connect it and make a nice termination here with landscaping, which would then relate better to our neighbor to the south. So we started to look into all of those items, and when we started to do some research, these are some of the things that we saw that we can then develop and make better. We can remove porte cocheres which were added on. We can remove walls which are not original or historic. We can introduce the building to be a better neighbor, a better friend to the street, to make it more of a building in context with the neighborhood. This is where 91st and Collins meet. Maybe we can improve this loading area drop off to the project. We looked at maybe there is a way to skin back and bring back the building to the way it was originally built, originally was intended to be presented to the public right away, not only on Collins Avenue and also from the public right away along the beach. Because if we can create a public pedestrian circulation that lets you walk along the beach. Yeah, we are proposing
we could
to
ask,
put,
please, that we hold our questions until he's done with the presentation,
right,
and then we'll have
right,
you come up, please.
Right.
Thank you.
But basically, this is the wall that we're proposing to remove, and this is the walls that, you know, basically are our present facade right now to the public right away along Collins Avenue, and hopefully we'll be able to change. And here is along the ocean. This is additions and modifications which were done to the building, which are non-historic. This is the cabanas where we looked at, and when we studied, there's things in here which don't meet code. That it's just horrendous. So we went on and we went into the inside, and we found inside layers and layers of things which were done, which really diminished the value of the historic structure. So what we did is we started to look into ways of how it is that we can improve the historic building and make it part of our project. And what we looked into is really finding ways to make it the center focal point of our proposed development. There are great details in here which I can speak for in hours on end, which are very unique. This is the photo that you saw in Pancos where you had the mural, and right here you can see where the wood stripping is, the batten. We removed that, and there was 2x4s behind, and this is the mural behind it. It's beautiful hand-painted mural, and then you can see the wood here. If we remove the paint, you will restore back to the way it used to be. This is the porte cochere, believe it or not, and it's hidden, and you never see it. It's just there. This is the mural we found on the floor that is right back up. You see this guy's cooking, and it's right here up on top. And that's what we can restore, and we're proposing to do, to do the full restoration. That's some of the painted wooden ceiling that we will do all the restoration to. So what we thought we would do is find a way to move forward and create basically a site plan, and I'll just be brief here. You see, this is 91st. This is 90th right here. This is Collins Avenue. And what we're proposing to do is to do a full restoration preservation to the historic building. And what we are doing is a public walk along the Collins Avenue where you would have landscaping, and the landscaping would allow you to walk in a nice new sidewalk all the way along Collins Avenue, along 91st. And even here, you would be able to come and walk along to the beach, walk along the public right away. And if you wanted to, you can stop here. You can come onto the property. It's open to the public. Enter, have a cafe, have a lunch, have a brunch, whatever you like. You can walk through the hotel, come out to the front door, and have yourself picked up or taken back to your home. So it's great as a resident, as a neighbor who lives to the north, to the south, or someplace across the street. You can come and have direct access to the beach. Or if you want, you can come through the building itself and have access to the beach as well. And that's the concept of the project. We have come up with two buildings, one building here on the south. In this building on the south, basically what we've done is we've curved it. So as you drive north on Collins Avenue, the historic building becomes a feature. And even our building here on the north, what we have done is we have set it back so that you, even if you look back the other direction, or if you come on 91st, we have a long facade of the historic building, which, did we make a little video, Matt? Did you bring that? We can show you, we'll show you a video of what it looks like. Because really, the idea is that if you have the historic building like this facing you, it's like welcoming arms on Collins, and when you walk along the ocean, you'll have the same feeling. And that's what it originally was intended to do. And then what we did here is we put a building in, and as your staff has mentioned, we can build a lot more density, we can build a lot more units, we can build a building that goes, you know, like this. But this client is looking to create something that is above and beyond it. So our density is substantially lower, and our buildings also, the way they relate. For example, this building right here to the south sits, and it's really perpendicular to the ocean. So what we thought we would do is, for example, do it parallel. So that, like I'm facing you, but if I give you the skinny side, you would have the skinny side, and that creates an opportunity to see our whole greenscape and landscape area in our backyard. So those are some of the things that we've done. And then here, just to answer your question, we have the parking structure over here, and over here we have our residential over a couple of levels of parking, because I was asked about that. We have a drop-off for our southern building here. We are preserving and restoring the historic entry right here. That's our main entrance to our hotel. And then we have another entrance right here. Most of our service comes on the north. That's where our entry is, right here on the north. And we have a little service drop-off on the south, which I will show you as well. This is a close-up. We have, you can see here, the entrance into the surf club arrival right here. We have a whole slew of landscaping and lawn and recreation areas and pools along the ocean, because we're looking to create that as a feature area. We're doing also a full dune restoration along the ocean right here. This is the properties on Harding. Basically what we have is we have right here 2 levels of residential over the parking and commercial. And over here we have a standalone parking garage. This is some of the detail we've gone through with your staff, and you can see this is the boulevard with the modules that Roger was referring to. This is the modules on the side and the blow-up. This is the landscaping. We're looking to do non-exotic and more vernacular landscaping. The building is looking to be a green building and to create a lot of amenity areas. This is the beach entrance. This is the elevation to the beach portal. This is what it would look like when you would walk along the ocean. This is the historic building. This is the historic cabanas. So you see basically the whole lineal, and this is the historic cabanas that we are restoring as well. This is the historic entrance and the historic staircase that we are going to restore right here, which is your beach entrance. This is what it looks like, the historic building once it's restored, and all the cabanas on the beach with the green space in front. This is the historic cabanas that we are looking to restore. This is our neighbor to the south, and this is our building tapering up. This is the condominium across the street, the Mediterranean, and this is the Surf House parking. This is 90th right here. This is, you can see here, the promenade that we're looking to create, which is the public access to the beach. I'm pushing, but it's not going. And here it is. That's what it looks like with the restoration of the historic house and the historic structure. This is if you were driving north on Collins Avenue, you would see how the building tapers out and reveals the historic structure. Yes, this is kind of interesting. This is the landscaping and the sidewalk that we would create along 90th Street. Obviously, there would be a pattern on the floor that we are working with your staff to create. And there would be, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little loading area right here on the inside. And then right here would be the termination in the landscaping that we are providing for 90th Street. This is a blow-up that shows also the entry and exit to our garage, because this area here is a very important area for us to be the access to the beach. And of course to our neighbor immediately to the south. So that was the east buildings. I'll go to the west buildings if that's okay. The west buildings are the buildings which are across the street. This is where we have the residential with an amenity area pool behind it. Right here, this is Collins Avenue, and this is looking down 91st Street. This is Collins Avenue looking north. whereby this would be the residential. This is our parking garage. We took the same architecture and the same language of architecture of the garage, same as the residential. This is an interesting picture. This is Harding right here, looking back towards the east as it slopes up. And this is the boulevard with trees that we would be improving. This is, again, looking Collins Avenue and the residential. This is the garage over here on the left. This is an elevation. We took great care to, this is the existing building to the north. This is 91st Street. This is the residential over the commercial that we have. This is the parking structure. This is obviously on Collins Avenue. How many stories is that, Matthew? Total of 4. 4. No, 2. 2 residential. 2. I'm sorry. Thank you. And this is blow-ups of the elevations. We have a mandate to make it a very light and elegant structures which relate, because obviously our units and our buildings will be looking back to these buildings. So these buildings, the way they look and the way they feel, are very important for us from a design standpoint. And this is the street section. You see we have planters going up the parking structure. So we have green walls and the modules which are being planted on both sides of the street and also in the median of the street. And of course, you know, three-dimensional landscaping, which helps us to create the best pedestrian experience that we can create, whether it's the fountains or whether it's the walls or whether it's the corners. That's what we are looking to create there. That's the materials. And I think that's it, right, Matt? Can you help me, Matt, and put quickly the little video? Is that all right, Roger, if we just so real quick? We made a little video because sometimes it's better to just see it. We took the liberty and we drove. So we drove north here from 90th on Collins Avenue. And see, that's the wall that we're looking to really find a way to remove and to open it up and really find a way to expose the historical structure back to the public right away. This porte cochere is not historic, so we're looking to remove it and do a full restoration there. And at the same time, remove this loading area and make it a proper end of 91st Street and create a nice entry into our building to the north. And then this is just a quick massing video that shows once it's removed what it can look like. This is actually the historic building being restored. These vases need to change, need to be more like in the picture. But this is the building that was presented to the Historic Preservation in Dade County and was just recently approved last week. And you see how you can see through the building because it becomes much more, and that's the way it was originally. Because when you would drive north and south on Collins Avenue, you would be able to see the, there it is, thank you. And then you can see right through the building. And the building has a long, wide facade on Collins Avenue. And then we went on the public right-of-way, right? This is the public right-of-way along the beach. Sorry, it's a little bit cloudy days, but what we have here is all of this will be being demolished and all the additions will be demolished. So we created an opportunity to say to ourselves, you know, it's really an opportune time to do a whole program of not only beach and dune restoration, but also to create a plan, a landscape plan that works really nice and uniquely for us. And this is obviously going from the south to the north and looking at the building, and you can start to imagine what would happen if we would start to remove all the nonsense that was put up. See, this is historic right here, these clerestory lights. And then this is obviously added on at a later date, and so is this. And so is the spiral staircase. So if we can remove all of that, and we have an opportunity to do that, it really created a unique destination. And that's where the historic designation stops and so forth. This is a video that we made. what it would be like with the cabanas, and you would enter from the beach. This is the restored cabanas that we're looking to restore, the wooden ones, where Winston Churchill sat, and we are also agreed to have a Winston Churchill cabana just for him. They have very strict rules and regulations that they gave us, but then this is where the guys were standing on the steps, and that's what we would restore, bring it back to the original tower and the entry. The cabanas on the bottom and all the amenity area, because now if you remove all that what was added on, you then have created this whole opportunity over here. And obviously, the spaces in the new buildings accommodate that public space and more. So that was kind of a thought process that we created. Thank you for your time.